Well, hey everybody, it's Steve at 1000-Year Homes. Welcome aboard. Behind me is my 1000-year home. But I'm not working on it because this week is the winter cold is coming in, which will be an all-time cold for this time of year, I guess. So it's already a little brisk. So I'm braving it here. I'm seeing if I can make it or not. This will be my first year at like 4 degrees or something. Really weird for Texas. But instead, let me rotate. All right, well, this is what I'm looking at. This is my view out my bedroom window. And if you look, the first tree right there, you can see that it'd be hard for fire to get into it. And those trees are pretty much off the ground. That one's pretty much off the ground. I do this whenever things are slow or I'm in between projects. The real project I should be working on would be putting a final foundation underneath these. But it's too cold to pour concrete, and that's a big task. Once I get started, I can't stop. So this is what I'm working on. This is, as I go, I'm going around in big concentric rings around the build site, trying to make it as fire breaky as I can. So if I get time, I'll make the dump trailer a project as well. I have to put in the piston, calibrate it, and get it all set up. I've got it back from manufacturing, had it for a little while, but I'm going to put you on stop motion, and I'm going to work on this tree, which you can see I've started, I guess cluster of trees is the right word, which I had started already cutting, with the idea of making sure that if a fire comes in, it can't get into the understory and get up there and, cause a bigger fire load for me. In addition, between the back porch, I guess if I call this the back porch, the backyard, and the stock pond, there's a cute little bridge in there. So I want to clear everything out here because up to about 4 foot tall, so that I can run a tractor in there and mow that and maintain it. So since I don't have a lot to do, I'm going to do that. Lastly, I scratched up my other camera pretty bad during the bridge construction. There's some dings in the lens that are just there now forever. So I switched over to a new camera. So I'm testing out this new camera as well. So nothing going on major, but for you, if you're building off grid like me, maintaining a fire line and safe fire distances, super critical. Reducing all the fire load you can. Now my container home, I'm building it to be as fireproof as reasonably possible. But these forest fires, they're super intense, people. That's not like in a Hollywood where you could just run away. I've seen fires in Texas so hot that it melts the cables underneath the roads. Melts the cables underneath the road. That's just a heat that's irresistible, right? You can't just wish yourself above that. But anyway, you can see that cluster of trees is a lot different than these cluster of trees in that the fire can pass under these safely here, but there it would get in the go from the understory right up and cause fires in the trees, and that's a problem. I have time for this, right? Because I don't have time for a big project. So whenever I have little windows of time like this, I go ahead and work on them a little bit. I'm going to put you on stop motion. I might narrate or I might use music. I don't know. Well, if you're just stopping by, you're a first-time visitor, this is called 1,000-year homes because I'm building a house that'll last 1,000 years. Now, having said that, each one of these trees is 45 minutes to an hour to clean around about. Why would I waste that much time instead of building a house? Well, when the fires come here, and I don't mean if, when they come here, I'm much more comfortable with a fire burning through underneath through the grass and weeds than I am getting up into these trees. Now, that's just a rough cut. Every year I get back in, I cut them a little more. That behind me, I haven't touched, right? So let's talk about the tools. The man of the hour is this little Ryobi lopper. If you don't have one, get one, especially if you're like me and you work in brush, deep brush around junipers or cedars or mesquite or anything. This lets me get in and lop off all of the branches that'll shoo me away and make chainsaw work very dangerous. One little branch, just a little tiny pencil thin, coming down hitting your chain just right, it'll jump the chain right off the tracks every time. And not only is that dangerous, but it does knock you out of work. So there we go, this little Ryobi lopper. Now, there's one modification that I did, and that's to stick a little piece of stick in here underneath the safety trigger while I'm working on it. Nobody else out here using this equipment. This is just a meism. Otherwise, my thumb literally gets a blister pulling that safety thing down, pulling it, pulling that safety thing down, pulling it. Now, it's single action. Now, you do you. Right, so that's what I did so that at the end of the day, I got a thumb that works. So that behind me is what it was. That right there is what it will be, right? So y'all can see that I have put some distance between the fire and the tree. So, and now I can get underneath it and even mow. So that was one of the tools. Listen, it's a small tractor, garden tractor, all steel construction. So you're not supposed to use these tractors as bulldozers. So, you know, you got deep pockets, go ahead, do what I did. But these mesquite underneath here had been dead for a while. There is no way in the world you could push over a mesquite with that light of a tractor normally. But did a pretty good job. It left me some little stumps around the edge. I'll get to them eventually. I just want to keep going around the house in big concentric rings, cleaning it up more and more and more. But I could not rave more about this. I could not rave more about this Mahindra. It is an amazing piece of vehicle. I leave it in four-wheel drive all the time. I know that's not good for it, but that's what I do with it. So that's how I use it out here on this muddy ranch. But you saw when I put it in granny gear, drop it down low, all that muscle behind that, all that torque goes straight into them trees and they don't stand a chance. So while I cut some, I'm more than willing to push down, especially an old mesquite. Everything out here has a purpose. So anyway, you saw that I cleaned around the tree, but looky there, I saved all of the big limbs. So those will be used for coyote fence on my roof. If you all were watching my channel, you see that bridge behind me. That's the way my roof will be designed. So it's a Da Vinci style bridge. Underneath the concrete is cedar coyote fence nailed together close and tight. So that's what all that's for. So I saved that. I've got a big pile of brush here, and then I chipped that and used that for composting out here in Texas. And lastly, all the mesquite. Well, the mesquite decays, but I'm using it for hugelculter. I'm building up my garden around there. This will be a sunflower, corn, pumpkin garden this year. If I could get these up high enough, maybe the cattle will stay out of them, but mostly the cattle just tromp them down. But everything has a purpose. The nice thing about the using the hugelculter, other than it looks old-timey, which I dig, is it creates its own little bioclimb, and I plant beans around it, which I enjoy, and I'm sure hoping the cattle stay away from this year. But anyway, every part of the tree is used. So that's what I was doing today, and the reason why I was doing it is because storm's coming. It's all gray, very cold here right now. And, you know, I even saw, last night I saw a couple of flakes of snow, which is unusual in this part of Texas. So it's a coming. All right, so there we go. 45 minutes or an hour and a half in the evening before the sunset was enough time for me to get one tree cleaned up. I'm going to get the rest of that cleaned up. I don't need to record that while I do it, so y'all get the idea of how that works, and I'll keep working until the sun goes down. I do not work after dark. In addition, I am off-grid all by my lonesome, a solo builder. All of this kind of brush work is risky. You do you, right? And be careful. Safety glasses is a must. Good gloves is a must. Every time I pick a chainsaw up higher than my waist, I think it might be the last time I'm touching a chainsaw. I'm serious about that. Those that kick back, they get in your throat, you're dead man. But so I treat chainsaws with a lot of respect as well. All right, this is Steve, 1,000 Year Home. Right there's the house. See, I'm working on it slowly. It's getting there, but it'll be wrapped in earth bag. It'll be 1,000 Year Home. That cedar will be above us, and that's what the 20-foot span of roof will be. Cedar and concrete, so ember storms and firestorms won't be able to get to it very easily. And it takes a long time to gather your own materials. But the advantage is it costs me no money, right? So there you go. All right, like, subscribe, follow me. Bye.